Folks, welcome here to another episode of the Soul Sessions. And as we continue our way through the episodes, I thought we'd get a bit of a Viking on, a Glaswegian Viking. Thorin, welcome to the show, pal.
Aye, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, true pleasure, Thorin, true pleasure. But Thorin, as I do with every guest, every guest has a story and every story has a beginning. I want to know, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
I think it was around. I was younger. My dad used to watch it when I was growing up, and I think I tuned in around 2008, 2009 maybe. It was the Hardy Boys when they were feuding together, when Matt fell out with Jeff and they fought in WrestleMania. And I think it was watching Jeff Hardy's moveset just kind of clicked me with the wrestling, and from there I've watched since, to be quite honest.
Fair dues, pals. And obviously, Jeff Hardy. It's so interesting about Jeff because I hear so many, not only just wrestling fans, but wrestlers being inspired by the guy. And I want to know from yourself, Warren, why do you think Jeff Hardy has that connection, has that ability to just connect with people on a whim?
So I think it's because I've never really seen Jeff Hardy as a bad guy, to be quite honest, either. He's always been a good guy. He's always on the crowd side, and he does all these cool moves that you tell kids not to do, they're probably going to want to do. All these flips and stuff. I'm not going to lie, I was one of them. I did go and do all these moves on the trampolines and stuff like that in my back garden.
Yeah, very true indeed. Obviously, Jeff as well. You mentioned not really seeing him as a bad guy, but I know we'd have sort of a bad guy run, especially in TNA as well. I mean, do you think that side of Jeff was maybe like a fresh take on him, or do you think maybe he should have stayed with the good guy persona that he has that good connectivity with the crowd?
I always say don't be afraid to try something different. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I personally think it did kind of work with Jeff. No. Because it was something new. It was something that not many people had really seen before. So it's good. I think it's good to try, because it was like he was in WWE, then he went to TNA, new company, new start. That's the way I kind of look at it. If that's for Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, fair dues indeed. And obviously, the Hardy Boys right now, they're still going. They're still kicking together in AEW at the moment. And
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
it's mental to see that they're still going. But hey, if you can still go, you can still go. But obviously, like, maybe the end's going to come for them soon enough. Maybe next year, maybe the year after. I want to know from yourself, Warren, as a fan of obviously both these guys, how would you like to book the Hardys' final match?
Oh, that's a hard one. Well, obviously, it would need to be a ladder match. If it's the Hardy Boys, it needs to be a ladder match, to be quite honest. It needs to be a ladder match. And I think a good way to finish it, seeing as the two of them are in AEW and Edge and Christian are in AEW, I think a good way to finish it would be the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian again.
Hey, I would absolutely take that. I personally would just want that to be all in. I don't want to travel. Like, I'll take 8 hours on a train down south.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but look, 12-hour flight over to like LA or something, you're pushing your luck there, boys. Let's avoid that. Heck, I'll even deal with Ticketmaster, the devil they are in the UK scene, because they are rotten. Now, of course, you did mention Ed and Christian there. They're, still going. And they, as we're recording, they have a match tonight at Full Gear. Adam Copeland, Sting, and Darby versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. Yep. And it seems like after this, it's going to be the real feud of singles match between Christian Cage and Adam Copeland. But I want to know, for yourself, Thorin, do you see this being a TNT title match? And if so, which pay-per-view would you do it for?
Whoa, okay. So I would say, yeah, it's probably going to be a title match. Pay-per-view wise, I don't know what I would do it on personally, but I would imagine they'd probably do it on a very big pay-per-view, considering it is quite a big match to be having. So yeah, I'm not really bright on AEW, to be quite honest. I only started watching that maybe a year ago, maybe.
Wow, really? I mean, hey, fair enough indeed. It is, as they say, the alternative, and it's another thing to have there. But obviously, a year ago now, AEW is kind of different to what it is just now. But what was it that really drew you to watching in the first place? Was it just to gain more experience on what was going on in wrestling, or was there something in the product that really drew you to it?
I think at the time, WWE was going very dry. It seemed to be the same storylines over and over, and it wasn't the same as it was when I was watching it when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, it was Triple H and The Undertaker and the Hell in a Cell, Shawn Michaels guest referee. It was big names like John Cena were always fighting The Rock. And then it kind of started to go dry, and then I seen so many WWE superstars going to AEW,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, well, there's clearly a reason why they're going to there. And I never ever bothered to watch it, to be honest. And then one of my friends, he was really, really into it. And he got me in it. He was showing me clips from it and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, it actually looks pretty. It looks like what WWE used to be. So
Hey,
that's why I'm going to give that a go, yeah. So
right, very true indeed. I mean, when you see someone like Darby Allin just throwing themselves in coffins every 24/7, I mean, it definitely brings back memories of the good old days.
exactly.
But what kind of, I am very interested though, because obviously you mentioned WWE stars going over, but AEW have kind of had their own sort of talent growing up. Obviously, there's MJF, Darby Allin, Jack Perry, and many others. But I want to know from yourself, was there any kind of those stars that really resonated with you and thought, wow, I like what they're doing?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think one of my favourite AEW stars has always been X-Pac. It's always been Pac. I think he's phenomenal. See, when he was in WWE, when he was Neville, there was so much that they could have done with Pac.
Yeah.
And they didn't, but AEW pushed them. They gave him that push. So I don't really know like AEW solo stars that I think have kind of sprung out to me. It's always been the ones that have went there from elsewhere because I know who they are, kind of thing. But yeah, I would definitely need to say that it would be Neville, 100% Neville.
Hey, the man who Ravie forgot has definitely been kicking his ass. You know, inaugural All-Atlantic champion and Trios champion at the same time. So he's definitely done his stuff in the company. But I'm always very interested in what you said there, obviously, with WWE stars coming over and that gets eyes on the product. Do you feel like that is very beneficial to companies when they have these big stars come over? Because then they could get new fans like yourself on the product.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's good to get other people from other companies because it can kind of expand your audience. Because people who watch maybe TNA don't really know who AEW are, but if a star from TNA went on All Elite, that's I would go, oh, he's on there. I watched him in this, so I'm going to watch him on this to see how he does on AEW. So I think getting people from other companies is good. That would be a good way to expand your company, your company and your audience, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely, pal. I mean, you got to get eyes on the product somewhere or another, and with those big stars, that does the job. But obviously, coming back home to good old Scotland, the land of the free, the drunk, and the crazy, I want to know, how did yourself get involved with the Scottish wrestling scene?
So I worked with who's now one of my closest friends. He used to be a wrestler, or he was wrestling. He used to wrestle under Source Wrestling. Quite good few years ago, to be fair. And he was saying how he used to wrestle and he used to do ring crew for ICW and stuff like that. And I was shocked, to be honest, because I didn't know you could just go and do that. I was thought you had to be a big muscly guy, you had to be in America to do all that. So I looked more kind of into it after he told me, and I seen Ravie-Davie was starting a school for wrestling. I was like, I'll go give that a go. I went to his opening day, and since he's opened it, I've been there since day one, kind of thing. So I think it was my friend. Definitely, it was my friend who told me you could just go and do it. You just need to find a training school. And I looked into a few, and a few of them were very out of reach for me. They were quite far. But Davies wasn't too far, so I think it was my pal that got me to do it.
Oh, fair dues, pal. Obviously, and I've had Ravie-Davie on the show before, and he's talked about that. He's so proud of what he's built with Community Pro and just having that outreach for people to come, learn, especially what he does with the kids classes as well. And then one for yourself, and as someone who's already kind of built yourself and grew with Ravie-Davie's teachings, what is it about Ravie-Davie that you feel like makes such a great teacher for you?
In my opinion, he's very good knowing how to deal with certain people, if that makes sense. So a lot of us sometimes in the class have autism or have some sort of learning difficulties, and he really does try his best. He told all of us last year that all of us would get our debut, and he did actually do that. Every single person got their debut. He had a student SmackDown, and every single person that was in his adult class got on that show. So I think it's the opportunities that came along with his coaching. Because of his coaching, I recently debuted in Belgium. Because of his coaching, and if it wasn't for Davie, I wouldn't have got to Belgium. I wouldn't have got to fight anywhere I have. So I think with Davie, it's all of the opportunities that he says. He doesn't just say it and then not do it. If he says it, he's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really good with the coaching and stuff like that. He knows his stuff. He really does. He's really good.
Hey, a man of his word, and that's what we love to see. But obviously, you mentioned making your debut in Belgium. I mean, that's an amazing thing to do, my friend. Honestly, be proud of that. But I want to know, how did that all come about? And, what was it like making your international debut?
So the funny story with that is I wasn't actually meant to be in Belgium. It was a birthday present from my dad to go to the convention, to go to the tattoo convention, and obviously I didn't know. I found out Davie was going, and I said to Davie, I says, "Are you going? What days are you fighting in Belgium?" He told me what days, and I says, "Okay, I'll see you there on the Friday and the Saturday." He's like, "Are you going?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, bring your wrestling gear in," and I was like, "All right, okay." And I showed up, and I met the Forever Rivals booker and all that, the guy, and he asked me if I could referee for him, and I said, "Yeah, that's cool." And then I got a match on the day that I was leaving. So, but it was amazing. I think it was amazing to be in the ring with people that are very talented. Some of them are really good. Some of the moves they were doing, impressive. And I think it expands my horizons in terms of experience.
Hey, definitely, indeed, pal. I mean, I'm always fascinated as well. I love when I've had wrestlers who have done stuff maybe in Japan or Mexico and learning about like the culture shift, because obviously fans in different countries will react in different ways. From yourself, or how did you feel the Belgians fan react compared to a Scottish crowd?
They had no idea what me and Davie were saying. If we were speaking, they had no clue what we were saying at all. I think it was hard to get them on board with what was going on because there was so much going on. Because we were just fighting in the middle of this convention, so there's people still getting tattooed. There's still other things happening, so it was hard to kind of draw the crowd in, if that makes sense. But we didn't stop trying. We eventually did got them sometimes clapping along or counting when we're punching people or whatever it was. But we eventually did get them on board to be part of the crowd kind of thing. But I think the difference is with Scottish wrestling and the Belgian wrestling that we were doing, the Scottish crowd seemed to click on very quickly. I think it's because when even when we're in Scotland, everybody knows who Ravie-Davie is, kind of thing. Like if you go to a wrestling show, Ravie-Davie's there, everybody knows who he is. So I think it was a challenge as well for some of us to try and get a crowd of people who have no idea who we are to start cheering for us, and I think that's where experience comes in.
Well, yeah, my friend, it's obviously a learning opportunity and a great one to have under your belt. So I need to ask, Thorin, are we going to get the international foreign tour in 2024? Wherever places you go in, pal, I need to know.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping I can do more matches next year and better myself and stuff like that. I'm hoping to expand my horizons and get on more shows and stuff. So definitely, I'm hoping Belgium's a start, and it's not just I'll do it once and then that's it. I'm hoping after Belgium, I get to go to places like England or go around the UK, kind of thing, or Europe. So yeah, it's definitely it's in the cards.
Well, hey, it's great. That's great to see, man. Great to see. I mean, obviously you mentioned England there. I mean, I've had the co-owner of Progress on, Lee McAteer, and he talked about how he's proud of what Progress has become, maybe sort of a main stop destination down south. Do you think Progress is on the cards, or is there other companies that you're thinking that's somewhere I definitely want to make my mark?
I think Progress would be good. Yeah, I've seen a lot of names that have even fought on Davie's company, fighting Progress and stuff like that. So yeah, I think because I'm new, kind of hang to the Scottish wrestling. Right now, I'm trying to take as much as I can get, without being an idiot, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'm trying to take whatever I can get.
Aye, fair dues, pal, indeed. And obviously, Community Pro, they're doing great things. And I know they've got their Govan anniversary show coming up as well. And they've got, Eric Young's coming in, the first ladder match in the company as well. With this anniversary for, and I want to know, what does it mean to see Community Pro get this anniversary and, obviously have a big star like Eric Young come in?
I think it's amazing. I said to someone not too long ago that I says I guarantee next year CPW is probably going to take over Scotland, because he's bringing in some pretty big names, people from France, and obviously Eric Young and stuff like that. He's got Santino Marella coming over in February. It's pretty big names for his company, and I think that definitely CPW is going to take over. But I think for the Govan anniversary, I'm happy, and I'm dead proud to say that I've been part of CPW for over a year now, and I've seen all the things that's happened, and seeing what could happen and what is going to happen. It's pretty amazing to be a part of the Gov anniversary, I'm not going to lie. Even, I don't even care what I'm doing. I'm quite happy just being there, to be honest.
You can manage the raffle or something like that. Get the crowd going, get the old tickets out and get them bouncing off the walls, my friends.
They're quite happy doing that.
But obviously, the champion right now in CPW is a previous guest of the show, Thatcher Wright. And Thatcher is how do I put this? An interesting individual, maybe a bit on the controversial side for many. But I want to know for yourself, Thorin, who do you think should take the title of Thatcher?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think there's a couple I would say. I would definitely say Davie, because he's been screwed over so many times by Thatcher's cabinet. He gets so close, and then something happens out of nowhere. So I think in terms of sympathy, it would go to Davie. I think Davie should get it, definitely. But I also think Big Ross should probably get it, because in Pollock, he got disqualified because Davie tried to help Ross, and it just didn't work out the way it was meant to. So I think Big Ross kind of deserves it as well. There's a lot of people that deserve it, to be fair. There's quite a lot of people.
No, of course. I mean, I think yourself, you're a guest on my show. I feel like you deserve it, Thorin. You could definitely.
I would happily punch a Tory to take the goal, to be honest.
I think you'll get a true celebrate. That will be a parade in the streets for you, Thorin. I think we'll get the whole floats out, the fireworks, the party balloons. You'll be celebrating, my friend. But I want to know as well. Obviously, you are the Glaswegian Viking, and I'm a sucker for custom belts. Cena's, Jay Briscoe's Ring of Honor. I want to know, if you won the CPW Championship, how would you put your Glaswegian Viking style on it?
I would definitely add Norse runes if I was to do that. Some Norse runes on it, some snake heads from the boats, and a couple axes in the middle, right across CPW. I think that would be quite cool.
I'm telling you, mate, if they make replicas of that, they'll be flying off the shelf. You'll be getting a pretty penny. I'm just saying.
Definitely, yeah.
Money opportunity. But also, you mentioned, obviously, with big stars coming into CPW, Santino Marella, Eric Young, kind of TNA stars as well. I want to know, for yourself, Thorin, if you could see maybe some other TNA stars in, who would you like to see come into the company and maybe even wrestle?
So not even from TNA, I would say there is, obviously you've seen a few WWE superstars got let go, and I think it would be pretty interesting if Davey managed to get like people like Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, Matt Riddle, all these kind of people. I think that would be pretty interesting to see. But I think I'd like to see Joe Hendry back on CPW. I think that would be pretty good. He was here. He was at the CPW title tournament. I think having him back, that would be pretty good, because everybody knows who Joe Hendry is in Scotland. That's into the wrestling, 100%.
Yeah,
and he can get the crowd on his side like that. So I think Joe Hendry.
No, hey, fair dues, pal. Indeed, fair dues. Now, obviously, our Scottish scene is pretty amazing, honestly. Discovering Edinburgh, ICW, CPW, Pro 2, and so many others. And I had Sam Barber on the show as well, and we chatted about maybe something in the future, like a Scottish super show. All these companies coming together and just putting on a big Scottish wrestling event. So I want to know, Thorin, see if you got to be put onto that show, this big hypothetical super show. Who would you love to be your opponent from the Scottish wrestling scene?
Looking Sharp, 100%. I would love to fight Looking Sharp.
Ooh.
Definitely Looking Sharp.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking of right now? Banger. Meltzer's going to love that. He'll give that 6 stars. I know it's not in the Tokyo Dome, but I'm sure he'll still give it 6 stars. He'll be absolutely fine there. But obviously as well, the whole UK scene in general is thriving. I know obviously the big wigs are coming over. WWE, Clash of the Castle, they had Money in the Bank, AEW with All In. And next year, obviously they're coming back for All In at Wembley. But there's been talks of WrestleMania in the UK. Now, look, I'm a sucker. I just want it in Scotland so I don't have to travel. I hate traveling. I like to remain stationary. But I want to know for yourself, Warren, if WrestleMania did indeed come to the UK, where would you like it to be held?
Ideally, probably the Hydro, because I can just get a train in, to be honest. But if it was obviously going to be in the UK, I would probably say the O2 in London or Wembley Stadium. Probably Wembley Stadium's where they would go.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of how big that stadium is. So I think probably Wembley would probably be where they would go.
Hey, I have no doubt that they would sell that sucker out in an absolute heartbeat. But obviously, a WrestleMania in the UK has got to have a special main event as well. I mean, who would you like to see in the main event of that for?
Ooh, main event of WrestleMania in the UK. Wow. I don't really know, actually. That's a really hard question, actually. I think it would be pretty interesting to see Triple H come out of retirement to do a match in the UK. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Ooh, Triple H maybe versus a Drew McIntyre. Just get the homeboy, I mean.
That would be pretty interesting, especially for Drew McIntyre. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting.
I mean, if that match was announced, the Scottish are just going to come out and try and get all the floor seats just to screw over the English. But, yep, suck it. We got your floor seats. You can take the nosebleeds. Sorry, Bells. Before, we're coming to the end of our time here on the Soul Session, so I want to propose one final question to you, my friends. You are obviously the Glaswegian Viking, and obviously Vikings have clans and, others under their lead. So I want to know if you could pick 4 individuals to maybe have a clan underneath you that would follow your lead. Which 4 wrestlers would you like to be a part of that?
Ooh, hard one. Well, I would definitely say I have 2 friends that are in the wrestling scene that I would say I would definitely have those 2. It would be Renegade Rex and JTT. I would definitely have those 2. Okay. For the other 2, I would probably say Looking Sharp. That would be interesting to see Looking Sharp like that. And a 4th wrestler. You know what? We'll fling Sammy Sparks in there as well. Why not?
Okay.
Renegade Rex, JTT, Looking Sharp, and Sammy Sparks.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive lineup there, my friend. I mean, not only will the merch be flying, all that, but I'm sure you'll have a kick-ass name that will be ring announced, and then you'll just be taking over this entire Scottish wrestling scene, my friend. I am certain of it. Well, Thorin, my friend, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the Soul Sessions. But obviously, what I do as well before I go as well, fans love what they've heard of you. Want to see you wrestle in the upcoming year of 2024. Which places can they find you, Bell?
More likely CPW, probably Community Pro Wrestling. Is probably where I'll mainly be for next year. I'm happy with that. So yeah, if anyone wants to see me fight, probably Community Pro Wrestling is probably where I'll be.
Like fair dues, man. And obviously, I know in this modern age, people are lazy. You don't want to cook. You'll have a delivery come by. You don't want to wait for your deliveries. You'll get Amazon Prime. So I will have Thorin's Instagram link of the video here. You can click it. So follow him, see his journey in the wrestling scene, and see this Viking stable he is going to create that will take over. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions. I would do the whole YouTuber shtick, but it's been around since 2005. I feel like I don't need to reiterate myself. You all know what you're doing. I believe you're smart people, so I will not insult your intelligence now. But hey, thank you everyone for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions.